The streets of industrial towns were alive with sound and motion. Children ran barefoot across rain-slicked cobbles, laughter echoing between rows of terrace houses. Street games, hopscotch, marbles, football, created a world of imagination amid soot-stained walls. Neighbors called greetings across fences, shared advice, and offered small acts of kindness. Every corner carried stories, every doorway a witness to generations growing up together. Community was not just social, it was survival, a network built on mutual support and trust. The pubs served as more than drinking establishments. They were meeting places where news spread, friendships deepened, and arguments over football matches or politics raged with equal intensity. Children occasionally peeked through windows, watching fathers and uncles debate the week's events. The smell of roasted meat, beer, and smoke fused into an unmistakable aroma, comforting yet potent. Pubs were living institutions where the pulse of working-class life could be felt in every corner, in every wooden beam, and in every raised glass. If this content speaks to you, don't let the story end here. Leave a comment, join the conversation, and help us keep these voices alive. Subscribe for more journeys through time, and together, let's ensure these cities are never forgotten. Without further ado, let's continue. Factories operated as the beating heart of towns, their rhythm marking time for families. Early mornings began with whistles and footsteps across gravel yards, the air sharp with coal dust and diesel. Inside, machinery roared, stamping metal and shaping lives. Breaks offered brief respite, mugs of tea, exchanged jokes, and shared sandwiches, but the sense of pride never faded. Each completed shift carried the satisfaction of tangible labor, a contribution visible to all. The factory floor was a classroom in resilience, teaching workers patience, cooperation, and endurance. Mothers' labor at home was equally demanding. After shifts, kitchens became workshops of sustenance, stretching ingredients into meals for families. Laundry hung over coal fires, the damp warmth of drying clothes mixing with the aroma of stews. Evenings were spent tending to children, mending garments, and preparing for another early morning. The invisible weight of domestic work shaped lives just as heavily as any factory shift, and women's efforts were integral to the fabric of working-class resilience. School children navigated streets filled with energy and risk. Games carried lessons of fairness, creativity, and courage. Scraped knees, muddy shoes, and shouted dares became rites of passage. Collective supervision by neighbors provided security while fostering independence. Friendships formed through shared play, disputes, and negotiated compromises, embedding a sense of community from the earliest age. Streets themselves became arenas for education in social skills, problem-solving, and solidarity. Strikes and union movements defined much of the decade. Factory gates were battlegrounds of hope and determination, where chants and banners demanded justice. Families shared sacrifices, missed wages, tension at home, but solidarity forged strength. Streets filled with protesters became theaters of both tension and pride, with lessons in citizenship, negotiation, and courage. The struggle for fairness extended beyond pay packets, teaching communities that resilience and collective action could change the course of everyday life. Football terraces were schools of passion and identity. Saturdays brought crowds shoulder to shoulder, voices chanting in unison, heated debates about every goal and miss echoing through stands. Hot pies, smoke, and mud created a sensory symphony of working-class ritual. Fathers taught sons songs, curses, and local loyalty. Football became both a release and a rite, a weekly affirmation of belonging and pride. For young people, terraces were stages for learning courage, teamwork, and the value of shared emotion. Inflation and scarcity shaped domestic life. Grocery trips became exercises in calculation, creativity, and thrift. Stews were stretched, bread rationed, and nothing wasted. Coupons and bargains were tools of survival. Yet within this economic pressure, households nurtured warmth, love, and dignity. Every meal, every shared penny, Every inventive dish reinforced a culture of resourcefulness that defined a generation. Music offered solace, rebellion, and identity. The roar of guitars in youth clubs, the hum of radios in kitchens, and the lyrics of bands like Slade, T-Rex, and The Clash became the soundtrack of life. Music gave voice to struggle, joy, and defiance. Dance halls pulsed with rhythm, uniting young people in collective energy. Songs hummed by factory workers during breaks carried hope, while records on bedroom shelves signaled aspiration, freedom, and individuality. Music became a medium connecting generations across homes, streets, and workplaces. Protests, marches, and demonstrations were inseparable from daily life. Streets transformed into arenas of civic engagement, where voices rose against injustice, economic hardship, or political decisions. Solidarity, courage, and persistence became part of the collective memory. Families witnessed both tension and triumph, learning that ordinary actions in the public sphere could yield extraordinary effects. Participation in these events was both a duty and a lesson in civic identity. Despite hardship, life was filled with laughter, care, and pride. Families maintained gardens, celebrated milestones, and shared resources. Community spirit offered sustenance equal to meals, creating bonds stronger than economic struggle. Children grew up learning resilience, responsibility, and empathy. Pride was measured not in wealth but in endurance, dignity, and mutual support. Working-class Britain of the 1970s embodied a spirit that endured long after factory whistles silenced and terraces emptied. Evenings in working-class homes carried a rhythm all their own. The glow of a coal fire cast long shadows across small rooms, while children completed homework under the flicker of lamplight. Stories were shared, advice given, and laughter punctuated the quiet moments between chores. Families relied on each other for warmth, both literal and emotional. Every meal, every story, every gentle admonition built the sense of continuity that anchored life in tough times. Railway stations hummed with energy as workers commuted or sent loved ones off to distant cities. Platforms were alive with greetings, farewells, and the rhythmic clatter of trains. Children waved from carriages, grandparents stood at edges, and the sense of movement reminded everyone of a larger world beyond the terraces and factories. Travel, even on short routes, was a small adventure, expanding horizons and fostering curiosity about life beyond local streets. Churches and chapels were central to community life. They offered both spiritual guidance and social gathering points. Services were attended with regularity, and Sunday schools provided children with lessons in morality, literacy, and teamwork. Choirs, festivals, and fundraisers punctuated the calendar, blending faith with celebration. These institutions shaped a moral compass, while offering warmth, structure, and companionship during an era of economic uncertainty. Markets and corner shops were also theaters of education for children. Negotiating a few pence for sweets taught early lessons in value and patience. Shopkeepers often knew families personally, calling children by name and remembering preferences. The repetition of these small interactions fostered social intelligence and a sense of accountability. Learning to wait, bargain, and appreciate even small rewards became embedded in the rhythm of daily life. Holiday excursions were rare but treasured events. Trips to seaside towns brought the excitement of sand, sea, and ice cream. Families packed picnics, shared laughter, and collected shells along the shoreline. These breaks from routine offered freedom from soot-stained streets and long work shifts. Children remembered the sensation of cold water splashing against legs and the taste of salt air, anchoring memories of joy and bonding that stood in contrast to daily hardships. Evenings often ended around radios or record players, with parents listening to news, music, or comedy programs. Families gathered close, discussing events, sharing laughter, and learning about the world beyond their immediate surroundings. Stories of strikes, elections, or sports results became part of family lore. The radio was both entertainment and education, creating shared experiences that linked households together and connected local life to national narratives. Sunday afternoons were sacred for rest, reflection, and preparation for the week ahead. Families visited relatives, took walks in nearby parks, or simply rested at home. Cooking and laundry chores still occupied time, but the slower pace allowed for reflection and planning. These moments reinforced family bonds and offered a rhythm of rest that contrasted with the relentless pace of workdays. Sundays became anchors in the week, creating predictability and emotional security. Despite the hardships, humor was a constant companion. Witty remarks, playful teasing, and shared laughter were vital tools for resilience. Families, neighbors, and co-workers used humor to navigate scarcity, exhaustion, and uncertainty. Jokes were layered with irony, sarcasm, and shared cultural references, forming a language of endurance that helped preserve morale. Humor turned the mundane into memorable, reminding everyone that even in struggle, life could be joyful. Evening chores taught responsibility and skill. Children swept floors, carried water, and helped prepare meals. These tasks were rarely optional, and they reinforced the values of diligence and cooperation. Parents guided their children patiently, demonstrating techniques while allowing them to learn through trial. By adulthood, these lessons translated into competence, resourcefulness, and a sense of pride in the ability to manage life's practical challenges. The rhythm of daily life was often dictated by the chiming of clocks. Factory whistles, school bells, and church towers marked the passage of time, reminding everyone of shifts, lessons, and chores. These sounds threaded together the lives of communities, creating a shared temporal framework that everyone followed. Even children learned to anticipate these signals, developing punctuality and an awareness of routine from a very young age. Even modest gardens became sites of pride and sustenance. Families grew vegetables like potatoes, cabbage, and carrots, supplementing their diets and saving money. Flowers brightened doorsteps and windowsills, offering a touch of beauty amid soot-stained streets. Gardening was both practical and symbolic, a demonstration of care, patience, and the ability to cultivate life in difficult circumstances. Harvesting produce became a seasonal ritual, with children helping pick beans or water plants, learning lessons about nature, effort, and reward. Local clubs and youth organizations provided structure and guidance for young people. Scout troops, sports clubs, and youth centers offered supervised environments where skills, teamwork, and leadership were nurtured. These spaces were safe havens for exploration, where children could build confidence, physical ability, and social bonds. Leaders and mentors became role models, teaching discipline while encouraging ambition. These institutions strengthened community ties and ensured that generations grew up with support beyond the home and school. Public transportation shaped independence and opportunity. Buses and trams connected industrial towns, allowing workers to commute and children to explore nearby neighborhoods. The crowded rides taught patience, observation, and camaraderie. People struck up conversations, shared news, and learned from one another during the daily journeys. Even small, routine trips became rich social experiences, knitting together the urban and industrial fabric of working-class life. Evenings brought ritualistic family meals. Despite modest kitchens, mothers and fathers prepared hearty dishes to nourish both body and spirit. Stews, casseroles, and pies filled homes with warmth and the comforting smell of cooked vegetables. The act of eating together reinforced familial bonds, offering a space for conversation, storytelling, and laughter. Food became a unifying force, creating memories that lingered long after the dishes were cleared. If these memories moved you, don't let the story end here. Leave a comment, join the conversation, and help us keep these voices alive. Subscribe for more journeys through time, and together, let's ensure these cities are never forgotten. See you next time.